This Transformers 96 with another video review. This time we have the Marvel Legends from the Absorbing Man Build-A-Figure series, the Spider-Gwen. So going over the package real fast, standard Marvel Legends package. She does share her package with the Ben Reilly Spider-Man, so that you can see his image on the side there. But on the other side, you do have a nice picture of Spider-Gwen. On the back, you do have some I like the way that they're taking the pictures for these Marvel Legends figures. I think that they kind of look nice. They've got a bit of a flair to them almost, so I like that actually. A small description of the two characters. It sucks that they're kind of bundling in two characters in one description, but obviously who cares? The other figures in this assortment, all of which I think are great. Like I've been saying throughout these reviews, I think this is probably one, if not the best Marvel Legends wave from Hasbro. It's certainly my favorite, but I would consider it basically to be the best, not just personally, but overall. So let's go over this figure. So this figure is probably one of the more sought after figures of the wave. At the time of filming this, I've only seen the wave once in stores. When I saw it, they had them all except for Spider-Gwen. I did buy Jack-O-Lantern, even though I had an entire set coming in the mail, but I wanted a second Jack-O-Lantern. And then I ended up coming back a few days later, and none of them were gone still, so except for obviously Spider-Gwen and the Jack-O-Lantern that I bought. So I would imagine, just based on that experience, that Spider-Gwen is going to be the most popular, but that is of course just a rough experience, so it's hard to say for sure. The figure itself is quite nice. This is the one figure that you really don't quite need when you are building the Build-A-Figure. If you really don't have any interest in Spider-Gwen, you can skip her and still build the Build-A-Figure. He just won't have his accessory. However, you might already have a better version of that accessory from Thunderball or a Pile Driver, which came out in 2012. So this is one that you don't need to build the Build-A-Figure, but it is a little extra piece if you don't have the original and better version of that weapon. The figure itself is quite nice. It is of course, just a repaint with some different accessories, like most Marvel Legends are. From this Spider-Woman, I think it's Spider-Girl. I'm not quite sure, this was a figure that I bought mainly for the Build-A-Figure piece. I don't remember what her name is, though. I don't think I even reviewed this one, actually. But it is, basically, it's a woman body sculpt, just in a smaller scale, which, is nice because it does open up a new series of characters that they can do, smaller, usually younger women comic book characters. So it is nice that they do have that extra different size body sculpt for the women, so that we're not just getting the same body sculpts over and over and over. At least they are different size, so they can do some different characters. The head sculpt is quite nice. There is texturing where the eyes are, and then the kind of pink wash that they have on it is pretty interesting. I do kind of like the way it's kind of spray painted on, and it kind of fades off. I think that looks really cool. And of course, there is no pink in the eyes whatsoever. It's painted really nicely, so there is no bleed there. Her hood is really nice. One thing I love about it is that it is not connected to the body or the head, so you can turn the head and then just twist the hood right back, and it looks perfect. I mean, or if you want, you can just have the hood stay with the head. So just posability is not hindered with the head whatsoever. When a figure has a hood, it usually means the neck joint is going to be really hindered, but this is one of those rare cases where that is not the case, which is great. There's some excellent texture and paint in the hood. Those lines are actually sculpted in there and not just painted, which is really cool. So I am pretty happy about that. See, there you go. You can see it really nicely. Excellent detail. Really like that a lot. Her body, she has black and white paint on her, which sometimes can be a bit worrisome because obviously bleeding is definitely very noticeable with those two colors. However, it's painted pretty evenly, I have to say. It's painted very nicely. I do like the style of paint that's kind of on her underarms. It is that kind of dark pink with the turquoise spider webbing. The only thing that's a bit of a bummer is that this is just painted. It's not actually sculpted on her arm, which is basically what I'd expect. They'd obviously have to sculpt completely new arms to actually have this sculpted work. However, it would have been really cool, but not something that I really expect from Hasbro to do. And then the legs are pretty nice, basically just pretty standard. They're just black. The only problem is on her right leg, for me, she was packaged in the package a bit bent, so her leg is at the knee area a bit out of shape there. So don't like that. Like, this is basically how it should be when you twist there you go. That's basically perfect, but this side it is of course quite bent. And there is a nice turquoise color on the bottom of her foot. She does have 2 hands, 1 fist, and then 1 spiderwebbing hand. I think the spiderwebbing hand looks really great. It's just if you don't have her in a pose where she's spinning a web, you know, obviously she still has the spiderwebbing hand. So I would have really liked a second hand sculpt of a fist, or just kind of an open hand, or something else rather than the webbing hand. Although I really do like it, but if you don't have her in a pose spinning a web, she looks odd. So now let's put on her Gwen Stacy face sculpt. Alright, and here we have Spider-Gwen with the Gwen Stacy head sculpt on. So the head sculpt itself is actually pretty nice. Get a close up, there we go. You can see that it's actually sculpted nicely. It's painted really well. The eyes are nice and even. The lips, the red for the lips are painted really nicely on there. No issues. The black for her kind of band that goes across her head is painted really nice, even though it's up against a light color like yellow. And then the hair itself looks pretty good too. As far as I can tell, it's just kind of like a blonde color. I don't think that there's any sort of wash in it to give it any other depth, but it still looks good. I don't have a problem with it at all. My only complaint about this head sculpt is the facial expression. This wave is full of faces with tons of really neat expression from, you know, Speed Demon with I can't even talk. Speed Demon with his big smirk. You've got other characters like Jack-O-Lantern, Venom, Morbius that have just crazy, you know, angry expressions. Even the Build-A-Figure has some great expression. And then you get this figure, which really just kind of, she looks like she's dead just about. So really don't like that. I would have much preferred some sort of like smirk or just something, you know, as opposed to this just dead face. So it's really unfortunate. I might have actually displayed her with the Gwen Stacy head sculpt on, but because of her really lifeless expression, I'm definitely not going to. So that's a shame, because it is a good head sculpt. It's just the expression that they've chose to go with it doesn't look good. Really quickly, while I have the hood off, figure I'd show you that detail does go throughout the entire hood. Let's see if we can focus on it. There we go. As you can see, detail throughout it, which just is wonderful, and it's super well painted even down there. I mean, just beautiful detail with that hood there. So let's get the mask back on Spider-Gwen. Hold on a second. Before we do that, just want to point out that the hood actually can be folded back from her head, which is really cool, and something that's definitely worth noting. They could have easily just not added this, and you know, it would be fine, but they did add this little detail, which is quite good. And because it does swivel with the head, if her hair turns, this thing doesn't get in the way at all, because you can just move it out of the way, which is pretty good. Alright, so the articulation on this figure is quite good. We've got a ball hinge neck, which can look up quite far and down extremely far, and like I said previously, the hood does not restrict the articulation, which is great. We've got a ball hinge shoulders, hinge swivel elbows, hinge swivel wrists. The hinges can move very far. We have a ball jointed upper torso. Does a bit, you know, kind of up and down, but mainly it's a swivel, but you do have a bit of movement there. We've got a ball jointed thigh. Unfortunately, the thigh on her right thigh does pop off every now and then. I've looked in it, it doesn't look like any of the plastics chipped away or anything, which is why it's the case. So I'm not quite sure why it does keep popping out every now and then. It does pop in extremely easily though, so you know, it's not a big deal, but it is definitely something to note. She has double hinge knees with the thigh swivel as well, I forgot to mention. And then hinge pivoting ankles, which work extremely well. So this Spider-Gwen figure is actually really nice. I think that even though she is just a reused body, most Marvel Legends are reused body sculpts, and this one definitely does fit Spider-Gwen as a character, both in her stature and as far as functionality with the articulation. She comes with a fair amount of stuff. I am happy that she has an extra Gwen Stacy head sculpt, although I would have really preferred it to have some sort of expression. I wish that she did come with an interchangeable right arm, or right hand, sorry, so that you didn't have to have her spinning a web on that arm. But other than that, I think it's a pretty excellent figure. Definitely not one of my all-time favorites of the wave, but there's really nothing wrong with it other than a few quality control issues that are basically just on mine, with the ball joint popping out on the right leg, as well as the right knee kind of being bent out of shape from how it was packaged. But there is some excellent detail in this figure, and it's a character that I think is quite popular, so I do believe that the figure is going to be pretty popular as well. So there you go, that's my review of the Marvel Legends Edge of the Spider-Verse Spider-Gwen. Thanks so much for watching.